We're excited about seeing everybody. Hello and welcome. And today I think is a really important topic. I don't know. I'm looking around. I'm seeing a bunch of people. I think Christine Bennett Rodriguez, I think she's been in business for a couple years now, at least one or two, right? No, decades, right? I shared examples of it. I don't know if anybody else has noticed that in general that people are a little bit more, parents seem to be a little more transactional post-COVID. Is anybody else seen that? And part of it is because of the easy ability to enroll online, and so some we don't have maybe this good a connection as we once did, or some schools don't, and that's really going to be the focus point. Because I would remind you that when you have an emotional connection with your students, you know the impact that has. But also, I think we have to double down on having an emotional connection with the parents, because if your parents are emotionally connected to your school, they will drive by 3 other martial arts schools to train with you because they have that relationship. And remember, logic and emotion are like oil and water; they don't mix. And so it doesn't matter if someone's cheaper or closer. If they know and like you, man, the difference is amazing. So I want to start by sharing something that happened in one of our locations in Sacramento. One of our top performing locations is called the Laguna location. And running that, we have a gal named Leah Aganyaga, who's the program director, and Patrick Kelly, who's the head instructor, and they're both rock stars. And the active count here is pushing 500. Our retention is at 3%. It's a well-run school. And one of the things that makes it so special is they have the systems in place, but their personalities are in line as well. And because of that, Leah Aganyaga, who's the program director, what she does better than just about anybody I've seen, is that during the evening hours, if she's not enrolling someone, she's not in the office on her computer. She's in the stands, she's in the bleachers, she's interacting with parents. That's what she does. And because she has such a strong rapport with parents, she has more say in their decisions. So let me give you an example. This is the point I'm getting at. Last month, in March, we had the way we do our quits. If someone wants to quit, they have to give 90 days notice. Okay. And that gives us 3 months to try to get them back in. And she saved 9 people that had given their notice from quitting. And the reason why is because she had rapport with them and a long-term relationship with them. So when she sat down and said, listen, Mrs. Wolf, I'm not going to let your child. Do you see the benefits of your program? I'm not going to let your child quit. We can't let him quit. And this is why. And because she had rapport with them, they listen. You guys can all identify with this concept. If you don't know the parents as well, then the details don't work as effectively. So that's kind of the ultimate result. But what I want to do is I want to talk about some things that are super important. And by the way, pretty much everything I'm going to say, you guys already know, but do you have it in a system? So the first one is that when a parent comes in, of course, you're happy to greet the student, but are you doubling down to make sure you connect with the parents of the junior students, get to know them to the best of your abilities? And super important, who here has when someone comes in and enrolls in your program, that they have a form that fills out, that your student fills out, that says, my child, I'm looking for discipline, I'm looking for confidence, I'm looking for better focus. Anybody have that? We probably all have it. Is anybody been guilty of not actually looking at it before you do the first lesson? Tell the truth. Okay, if you're not raising your hand, you lie about other stuff. We've all forgot to look at that sometimes, right? And what's important about this is that we got to make sure that we're scratching the itch of the parents why they have their child in the program. So here's an example. Let's imagine that I have 2 parents that brought their children to me. And in general, what I see as a trend is people bring their kids to us for one of 2 general reasons. There's more than this, but they lack confidence. They want to become more confident, or they lack focus in a little while and they need to be more connected or more focused. Is that fair to say? That would be pretty general, those 2 things. So I know that as the instructor, I know that parent number 1, you brought your child to us because you want them to have more focus. And parent number 2, you brought us to, parent number 2 came because they want their child to have more confidence. They're both standing in attention stance. Shh. I walk up to parent number 1 who wants more focus. What is my message to parent number 1? Look at how focused they are. I'm able to address their concerns. I'm able to scratch their itch because I know what they were looking for. Parent number 2, look how confident they are. And so because I know what they're looking for, I can better address that. So one of the things that's super important is asking lots of questions to parents when they first enroll as to why you brought your child to the school. So you can really understand that perspective, because that's going to better arm you to be able to identify and point out things that can resource that and back that up. So the next thing to do is if you aren't, last night we had a online orientation because we have multi schools. We do it online. You don't have to do it that way. You certainly can, but it's a thing we do every month for all new members, their parents to show up, and we do a kind of a 20-minute. Here's how this works. And here's how you expect with a tip system, and what if your child doesn't want to come into class, all those steps that are so important to cover. And what's important to understand is if you go through this all on your introductory process, you understand that they don't hear 90% of it. They're only going to adjust so much. So that's why it's so important that you find a way to really kind of explain the rules of the road, so to speak, with your parents. Um, and then the next thing on this is that there's three things that I think that we need to do with not just our kids, but our adults when they first start. That's going to really help keep that connection strong. First off is that we want to, with the parents, get them in the habit of coming to class, understand the importance of having a routine. Right. And so, for example, I don't want to say, hey, your child can come whatever 2 days they want. No, man, be as specific as possible that you're going to come Monday and Wednesday at 5 o'clock. So they're really clear on the time and the attention. Okay. Number two is that we want our parents, we know we want the kids to fall in love with the training, but we want our parents to fall in love with the program. Right. And we want them when they come down, all the stuff that happens, you're trying to get one kid out of the pool, and the other one's got gymnastics, and you got a headache, and you don't really feel like going, your child can't find their belt, all the stuff that goes into it. When they finally get to the school and they sit down, you want them to go, oh, wow. Now I remember why I'm here. And that's a lot to live up to. That's hard to do. But one of the things that we are really trying to put an emphasis on in our orientation is the importance of mom and dad, when you're at the school, can you please put the phone down and can you give your attention to your kids? And I'll tell you why this is super important. Is that first and foremost, you all know a child does a technique and and the instructor says, good job, Bobby. And how often is that child, especially if they're young, going to look back to see if mom and dad caught that? You want to be there to catch that. Okay, as a parent. So we're pretty straightforward with that. Secondly, is that what we want to do is we want the parent to, like when you're going to do a huddle discussion, this is a basic thing that you all know, but maybe you got away from it. Hopefully you didn't, is when you do a huddle discussion with the kids, bring all the kids close to the parents. So they're sitting in front of the parents. So you're talking to the kids, but the parents are right behind them. And the more you can engage them in the message of the week, and you're talking about, right now we're talking about self-control in our school and what that means and how we can demonstrate. And this gives us a chance for the parents to really see the benefits of the program in action. If they're far back in the corner and they're sitting on their phone, they're not hearing a word of it. And what we're trying to do initially with those parents is get them to understand that right now you just started this as an activity, but we want this to be a lifestyle. Right. And that's up to us to really educate them on that. The other thing, and I know I've talked about this in past calls, is the importance of really stressing to parents being legitimate about the fact that your kid's not always going to want to come to class, and that's okay. Right. And what I will tell kids, I'll huddle them all together. Parents are right there, and I'll say, hey, moms and dads, kids, everybody have a seat. So how many guys, when you come to class, do the instructors try to make it fun? Yeah, they make it fun. Is it always fun? No, it's not always fun. Sometimes it's hard work, and that's okay. Right. And then we'll talk about the difference between perseverance and the quit muscle. And we're going to address that all the time with the parents as much as possible about how your child's going to want to quit. And when that happens, this is a great chance do you want your child to develop the quit muscle or the grit muscle? How do you develop the grit muscle? By wanting to quit and not quitting. That's how you develop perseverance. Mom and dad, if you let your child quit when things get rough, they're developing the quit muscle. That's not the one you want to have them have. And that's a lesson that you almost can't give too much. And it's important that you give it to the parents while their child is still motivated to train, not until after they're losing interest. It's almost like you're too late at that point. And so here's another basic thing. I'm going to turn it over to a master at parent communication, Chris Tursak, in just a second. Before I do, the one other thing I wanted to mention is that the parents of which you know their names, their kids will train with you longer. Just the fact that you know the parents' names. Now, some of you might have a very formal structure where you call everybody by last name. Some of you guys were a little more casual, a little more first name basis with parents. When I know that that's Bob and Marcia, their little girl, Sherry, is going to train with us longer. And I'll tell you why. Because I'm more likely to go have a conversation with Bob and Marcia because I know their name, because I remember the name. And you all know this to be true. If you see a couple people in the audience and you know somebody's name, that's the person usually more likely to interact with. So the more time that you can spend literally getting to know parents' names, the stronger you're going to make that relationship. So that's some general stuff. Nothing that you don't already know, but I'll tell you what, especially going into summertime right now, this is when we got to double down on our relationships. And by the way, there's always the assumption our classes got to rock. What I shared last night in our new student orientation, I told the parents, I go, hey, listen, we've got to earn your business. The school has always got to be worthwhile to you. And if you don't find it's worthwhile, then I get it. That's your option. But if you see the value in our program and your child's losing interest, it's really important you keep them going. So we pre-frame that ahead of time. So Chris Tursak, who runs Tursak's in Jacksonville, Florida. I've been there a bunch of times. He and his family, it's a family-run school, and he's really, the glue that keeps it all together in that location. They do an incredible. They actually have two locations: a super center and then a normal-size second location, and they just rock it. And one of the things that they've done so well is he has all these strategies that he utilizes to really double down on that student and that parent relationship. So, Chris Tursak, I want to turn the floor over to you, sir. You are on.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And I've been on a mission for the last 2, 3 years of I don't want a quit to come through and be a shock. Now it still happens, but I like when a quit comes through and I can sit there and go, listen, we've connected with the parents, we've done everything we can, we've seen it coming, and we tried to head it off. We had the conversation, and it's just, we just dragged it on long enough that we knew it was coming and we knew we did everything we could to try and save them. Or we did everything possible to try to connect with the parents with all the systems we have, and the parents just didn't want to be connected with. And those are okay quits, in my opinion. I don't like quits, but in both of those scenarios, it's like, hey, we did everything we could, or we attempted to do everything we could. And some parents just don't want to be communicated to. They don't like phone calls. They don't come in. They don't pay attention. They're very transactional. As soon as the kid's not happy, they're out. But we still try to make every attempt to connect with them. Or, we know their names, we're connected, and, they come to us right away. Billy's starting to give pushback, just like you said. What's the next strategy? And we try to help them and nurture them through that. And if at the end of that they still throw in the towel, we can at least say we were engaged the whole time. That's been our goal. So a lot of systems that we put in place that the instructors can do, and basics 2, 4, 6 from the beginning. Do we have a good foundation when they start to create those habits? Things that the instructors do, are they communicating with the parents? But some very specific ones. We do something after every class. We call it a GSER, and we actually train our junior. Like I have 9-year-olds who do this. It's a general, specific, improvement and return. And after every class, we have our helpers in that class walk a kid over to their parents, or two, or a couple siblings, and they'll actually speak to the parents. Hey, Billy did great in class today. Really specifically, I loved his enthusiasm and energy on something new. He didn't do so hot with keeping his hands up and sparring. That's something we can maybe work on at home when he coming back for class. Like that simple. So that's not for the student. That's for the parent to know that we paid attention to the fact that Billy was in class. It's also more powerful when you have a 9 or 10-year-old walk a 4-year-old over and have that conversation because they can see the future. But that ends up happening to almost all of our students every 1 to 2 weeks. So that's probably one of those. I actually just explained this in our staff meeting right before coming on here, of the importance of that, because that's right in their faces every time they're there. If they're in the building, if not every week, it's every 2 weeks. They have some helper, some instructor, some staff member walk their kid over and go, I essentially noticed that Billy was here, and here's what I noticed about him. Thanks so much for bringing him. Very, very powerful first step. And it helps down the road when those younger kids become my instructors and staff. They're very used to speaking to parents, where they've already developed their favorite parents, because these 5 kids are always in my Tuesday class, and I always walk them over to their parents. So now that I'm teaching the Tuesday class, I have this multi-year relationship with some of these parents. The second thing is we have a very strict and rigorous progress update system. So there's an 8-step progress update that Hanshi taught us. We added a 9th step to try to get people to train more. And we religiously, essentially every 9 months, a student gets sat down based on their belt rank with one of our instructors or one of my front desk and their parents. And this is more for the parents again than for the students. And we go through 9 different items with them. It takes 5 to 10 minutes. If we can't get them in the school, we'll do it over FaceTime. And if we can't connect to the parent, I'll send it in a text. I don't like it, but I'll send the 9 questions out. And we kind of their current update of how things are going. And again, it's another nice review of going, hey, for the last 9 months, I have actually noticed Billy, and here's the improvements he's making. What are the things you're seeing? How can we help? So I'm trying to connect with you as a parent, not just treating him like another number or a student on the mats. And then the third really big one that the staff does is we do POGO, which is people, organizations, goals, and obstacles. My front desk team tackles this. I print a list of 30 students every month between the 2 academies, And their job over the course of that, and I'll rate them on the A, B, and C so they kind of know ahead of time. So as the instructors are doing the GSERS and the whole team does the progress updates, the front desk, essentially 5 people a day. It's not that hard of a phone call. They make a phone call, they pull up uh, our software, and they start it with updating their contact info. Is this your current address? Is this your current phone number? Because those things change a lot more frequently than you realize. But now my experience coordinator or program director is connecting with the parents on the phone without the kid present. And they go through, hey, I'm calling about Billy. First off, I want to make sure, is this a good email? Oh, Billy's 12 now. Do you want me to put his phone number in there so he gets texts as well to start building responsibility? Then we go into, do we have their parents' names? Like there's people that we've noticed sometimes that have been students for 5 years and their dad's name was never put in from the enrollment paper into the CRM. So that's our chance to, hey, we actually don't have, Mr. Black's name in here. What's his first name? Oh, Wesley. Thank you so much. And I know Conrad's sister Genevieve, she's been doing soccer. Is she still, doing soccer? So we go through, and if we know there's a sibling, if it's on the newer side, like, hey, I know Conrad has a sister. I haven't gotten a chance to introduce myself yet. What's her name? And so we get all this info on the family. Then we move to organizations. What school is Billy at? He's in 6th grade at Mandarin Middle, and what do mom and dad do for work? Oh, I didn't realize you're the manager of the restaurant down the road, and I didn't realize that mom is a HR specialist. So we start creating this tribe. Whenever, on a side note, a parent loses a job, we're able to connect them pretty quickly to somebody else in our network, and then we go to their current goals. Hey, I know 2 years ago when you enrolled, you put, social, discipline, focus. Yeah, you did all the check boxes, but specifically now that we're 2 years in, what are your goals for Billy? When he's not present, so you can let me know, like, what is he struggling with right now? What can I tell the instructors to do a little bit better? Or what can you help him with? Oh, well, Billy's moving to middle school and he's a teenage boy who's, in karate, he's very confident. At home, he's very confident, but at school, he's not handling the confidence very well. He's very shy, very meek. Oh, thank you for letting us know. One of my instructors can help him with that. So we get their current goals and then we get their obstacles. So we go back like, hey, I also noticed you've been training 2 times a week. That's fantastic. You used to train 4 times a week. What happened? Oh, he's in baseball right now. Okay. And is there any reason why his sister Genevieve isn't taking classes? Oh, well, she's actually in gymnastics, but she's starting to get bored with gymnastics. And so we get, what are the reasons why we don't have you training more, or how can we get you more involved, or why are other people in the family not involved? And so that allows us to again go from, oh, that's Billy's mom to, oh, that's Angelina. Right? And so my front desk person needs to do that one because they are the ones that sit there when they walk in. And I want them having that connection with the parents on a first name basis, while the instructors focus a little bit more on creating that trifecta relationship of parent, student, and instructor. And then what I try to do personally on my end is, my least favorite thing is phone calls. Never liked them. I still do them. But when you have a good phone call, sometimes it's a 20 or 30-minute phone call. When you leave a voicemail, sometimes it takes 5 minutes to ring through everything. I send video messages to parents, probably 5 to 10 every day. We track student anniversaries, class milestones, highlight birthdays, like when they turn 12 and can go to teen classes, or they turn 16 and can get their license. And I have templates I send them attached to a video that's personalized to them. So it's not an AI, it's not a everybody gets it. So like, hey, Billy, congratulations, happy birthday, you turned 12 today. Did you know in our academies, 12 means you can start taking teen classes. So besides your regular classes, I'd like to invite you this week to your first official teen class. I teach the one on Wednesday. My brother teaches the one on Monday. I know you like me more, so you got to come to the Wednesday one. Looking forward to seeing you. And so it's a quick 30 to 60-second video that's again sent to the parent that they then share with the kids, that lets them know that we pay attention. Because what parents that want to be engaged like to see is that we notice things about their kids.
So I want to stop you for just 1 second to clarify. Everybody understands that he's not doing some blanket video that he sends everybody the same one. He's taking the time to actually use their name and talk directly to them. And that's it. And it, by the way, it takes no time at all, right? It's very quick. But this is so powerful. So I think what you're doing here is just amazing. Keep going.
Oh, that's probably, because I'm the one doing it, and I only let the instructors do it if I'm out of town, because I like to again have it that kind of like multi-layered. Your day-to-day instructors are hitting you here, my front desk team is hitting you from here, but also the chief instructor and owner also pays attention to you. hey, congratulations, you hit your 100 days of training. I know you got the automated text already, but I just want to let you know I've never met you. You're down on my Silverleaf location. At 4 years old, hitting 100 days is absolutely fantastic. Like 4 years old, not many kids that age have done something for 3 straight months. I'm a huge fan of celebrating small victories. If you want to do this long term, mom and dad, next time Billy's in class, make a big deal about it. Take him out for ice cream afterwards. Talk to the instructors. I'm just really ecstatic to see that one of my Silverleaf students made it 100 days. Congratulations. So even the students that I don't get to interact with, I'll still send that video to. And most parents are like, I had no idea they've been training for 100 days. The fact that you knew that or took time to send a short video, that takes less than actually calling them. Because when you go through the voicemail and it takes, 2 minutes to leave the voicemail that nobody listens to, you get that instant response, even a thumbs up. I've even had people videotape their kids sending me a thank you video back. It's pretty cool.
Only do this with the students you want to keep.
Correct. Yeah, there's a couple that we purposely skip.
That's a joke, right? You try to get to everybody eventually.
Yeah. And we, for us, we also have a notice period. We do 60-day notices unless they've told us like, hey, like from this point forward, we're not training anymore. We do the same thing when people are on notice, or the ones that sign up for like a 1 month trial versus enrolling. I'll do my 4 week check in with them, or like, hey, you hit your 2 year anniversary. I know you're quitting in 2 weeks, but I just want to let you know you did something for 2 years nonstop at 8 years old. We're not a seasonal activity. We don't even take summer vacations off. You've literally done something nonstop for 2 years. That's a pretty big accomplishment. I know you didn't get your black belt, right? And you may not think yellow belt's a huge deal, but I'm proud of you for making it for 2 years. And so now you're having somebody who leaves still on a good note that, like, even though I put my notice in and I haven't been taking classes, you guys have gone out of your way to wish me a happy birthday or, check in on an anniversary. And it doesn't take that much extra time from my plate to do the videos, unless
So,
you
Chris,
go a week of not doing them and then
just for a
have a lot
second,
to catch up on.
I'm gonna stop you for a second. Such great information. And if I was to sum it up, that's a lot to take in, guys. We just threw a lot of stuff at you, and we have a bunch of veterans that have been doing this a really long time. My advice to you would be less actually done is better. And chances are you have a bunch of systems in place. The best place to start is, are you doing the systems that you currently already have in place when it comes to parent communication? That would be and then if you were to add on an additional like videotape, send a video one or two a day to parents. That I would encourage you guys to set yourself up for success by adding very little initially, okay, and until it
Agreed.
becomes routine, then over time. But I tell you what, it's the classic. I don't know one way to get 20 new members. I knew 20 ways to get new, one member. When it comes to retention, all these little things connected together is really what's going to make the difference. And it's anymore if we've got to, with everybody utilizing AI, which is lovely, it's so important that we all utilize it to its best of it, leverage it to the best of our abilities. But this is the yin to AI's yang. This is the human connection that people are going to crave, and it's going to make us stand out. So, Chris Tursak, really good stuff. And I know we have we're going to answer some questions. We're going to open up for questions or suggestions in a minute. I'm going to floor back over to Anna, if you don't mind. You're on, ma'am.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, Chris and Hanchi. I really appreciate all that you guys have shared. And we wanted just to show how the EFC software can tie in and help with some of these parent touch points. Like that Chris mentioned, opportunities to leave comments, notes, pictures that that parents can see of your instructors interacting with your students. So I'm just going to share a short highlight video of how you guys can do this and set this up in your CRM, and then we'll open it up for questions to Hanshi and Master Tursak.
Time for another software highlight tied to this month's topic, which is parent connection and how it drives retention. So parents stay when they feel involved in their child's training. The challenge is that most parents are not on the mat. They're either at work or they're running errands or they're dropping off their kids in between activities. And Aquila has two features that help with this. The first is observations, which you'll find on the left-hand sidebar. If you click on it from the menu, you'll see a list of the observations that you've already made, and you'll see an option to create a new observation in the top right corner. So think of an observation as a way to point out to a student that you've noticed that they're doing something really well. For example, we can search our students. I'm going to search myself. And I'm going to tell myself that I did a really awesome job today with my front kick. And I'm going to tell myself to keep up the good work. So for extra personalization, you can add emojis, and you can also add photos or videos from the gallery, or you can upload new ones. Just keep in mind to check the students' photography consents before you add any pictures of them. So to add this observation, you can click Save Changes, and from there, the observation will show up in the student's account, and the student or the parent will also be notified via email that you made an observation. So switching over to the student's account from the member portal, the student can read their observations by clicking on Observations, and they can interact with that observation as well. For example, they can like it, and they can comment directly. So I'm going to thank myself. And so when you do that, if you go back to the instructor view and refresh the page, you'll be able to start the conversation with the student. Just keep in mind that the observations view is a private view, and only instructors and parents can see it. So going back to the home screen, the second way to communicate with parents is in the journal section. Aquila automatically awards badges for students when they hit certain milestones. For example, when students attend their first 100 classes, this will show up automatically in the journal section, and parents and students can see this in their student portal. So this might seem like a small thing, but milestones like the first 100 classes are exactly the moments that parents want to know about. And when the system handles it for you, you can stay focused on teaching. And that's it for this month. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on this month's coaching call.
Good stuff. Before questions, we open up for questions. Thanks for sharing that, Anna. Really good information there. So cool. There's so much. If you're not taking advantage of those features, man, you should be. I wanted to turn the call over to Mr. John Coquino, sir. Good to see you, sir. Any words of wisdom for the crew?
Hey, Dave, thank you so much. Remember that old story about the salt theory? The salt theory. I'm coming back to you with a question. The salt theory is, well, you take the horse down to the lake and you're trying to get the horse to drink water and it throws you into the lake yourself, So you go back to the barn and you get your salt shaker and you pour salt in the oats and you get that horse really thirsty. And all of a sudden that horse will naturally want to drink. That's the salt theory. So, Dave, on this subject with parents and their relationships, you're really good at showing the big picture and getting everybody thirsty and letting them know what's happening down the road. So when you're going through your everyday work through the classroom and you're interacting with all the parents, what is it that you're getting them thirsty for in the future? What stirs in your mind naturally that's coming out in your conversations?
Well, one of the things I think is really important, and the human mind is easily influenced by anything spoken with conviction. So we have to like double down when we show up to work. Man, hey, teaching the martial arts is rough. We all have lives, we have challenges, everything's going on. It can be it's Thursday, your voice is shot. Your assistant instructor doesn't show up, you're dehydrated, that kid shows up and brings two of his friends, and so what we have to do is we have to make sure that our vision is really strong, that we know why it is we're doing this. And so the first thing I would do is I try to make it a point. Like it sounds, it's so, I don't know, cliche, but hey, I walk into school, I did it this morning, and I wander around and I try to really consciously, intentionally remember the experiences of what we're doing and why we're doing it. Because what happens now when I show up and I'm interacting with kids and parents, it's more organic and it's more natural. It's not forced. It's not, I recently sat in on a presentation of a gentleman who did a presentation that he's probably done 1,000 times. And he's a smart guy, the words were right, but his spirit wasn't present.
Mhm.
and you could tell. And honestly,
Hmm.
looking around the room, I'm seeing, so many, Master Randy, Master John, all the people I've known for decades. How many people have you promoted to yellow belt in your life?
Hmm.
Thousands and thousands. But it's
Hmm.
their only time.
Hmm.
We have to remember, like if we go to a good Broadway play or a good band, we go see our favorite band, they've been playing that same song, 150 times a year for the last decade. The reason why it's still enjoyable because their spirit is present, even though they've done the same thing before. So I think that's really the most important thing. And I also try to future pace with parents as much as possible. If there's an older
Yeah.
kid there, and Chris Tursak referred to it when he's talking about the 9-year-old talking to the 5-year-old's parent, they're going, hey, I'd like my kid to be that confident 9-year-old someday. So that's kind of an ongoing thing. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, just to follow up with you, Dave. So a little bit down the road, what do you want them to anticipate, students and parents, a little bit 2 or 3 months down the road specifically, so you could get them excited, you could get them thirsty for what's happening. You paint a really good vision down the road as far as retention goes. So anything specifically that comes to mind?
It's a great question. It's a really good because what we want to try to do is we want them. I think the whole process of the belt ranks and the tips and the stripes, it's this amazing progression of short-term goals and long-term goals. Using, let's say, black belt as a long-term goal, right? And tips
Yeah.
along the way. And what's important is that you have a victory and then a reboot, so to speak. Pat yourself on the back and get back to work. And so one of the things that we try to do after every belt promotion is we do a new belt orientation to where everybody just got their yellow belt. You're going to be, you congratulate, high fives, bring all the parents together, all the kids together, and congratulate them, and then let them know what's happening over the next 3 months. Set those expectations again as to what the next step is, and so this is an ongoing, and this doesn't just happen at black belt. We've all had someone that got their black belt and quit because we weren't clear enough with what the next level is. So we've always got to be pat them on the back and then reset some goals, and that's kind of an ongoing process for as long as you have a student.
Yeah, for both of you, and Chris, you might be on mute right now, but we're always talking about adding value every day. We got to add value to ourselves. We have to be worth our paycheck, but we also got to say how do we bring value to the marketplace? How does our program add more value? And Chris, when you have hundreds of students, and I think you're on mute, just so you know, when you have all these locations and all these students, every day you're in there doing videos all the time. You're trying to add value, you're giving value, you're projecting value. What stirs in your mind generally when you say, okay, I've got to add value to my program, my team's got to add value this week? What stirs in your head when I say that? What is the value?
Um, I know we talked about the values of martial art, but for me, we read the book Unreasonable Hospitality and immediately followed it up with a book called Power of Moments, and it's about making people feel good, not just when they're in your presence, but whenever they have any connection with any part of our business. So every phone
Love
call,
it.
even an MIA call, it's not supposed to be, "Where have you been? You haven't been here in 4 weeks." It's, "Hey, we haven't seen you in 4 weeks. What can we do to get you back in here comfortably?" So everything's framed around making people feel good. And I think that's been kind of my passion for the last 2 years is as much as I love martial arts, I really enjoy when you see somebody value the time that you spent or gave to them, whether it was 30 seconds or 30 minutes.
And I might
Yes.
interject here, John. Something you shared with me 25 years ago, was I like how I feel when I'm in with the other person. That's one of our mindsets. I like how I make others feel important when I'm in their presence, and I think that's what Chris is saying as well, right? What can we do to when someone shows up? This classic Zig Ziglar. Imagine the sign on the chest that says "Make me feel important."
Yeah, we were talking about many years ago the 11th commandment of relationships, and it was really like, why would somebody in a relationship with you want to stay with you for eternity? Really, because of how they feel about themselves when they're in your presence. Do they feel criticized? Do they feel empowered? Do they feel great? Do they feel like you're supporting them? So, Chris, anything specifically that you could say to a parent or a student that would make them feel empowered, that would make them feel valued? Give me a few ideas or sentences just to put you on the spot a little bit.
You're good. I'm gonna hit it from two ends. I'm gonna hit one kind of on a negative side. Is it goes back to what Hanshi mentioned about be honest with them up front. Your kid's not gonna like it. These are the things that are gonna happen. So when someone comes in and goes, they're giving pushback or this is happening, and you sit there and go, That's 100% normal. If you don't remember, I mentioned this a couple months ago, or when you enrolled, or even our last progress update, and it's very normal. He's a 10-year-old, he's a blue belt. Everybody goes up and down with everything that they do. The key is consistency, and we are here to help make sure we stay consistent when he's on the little dip, or we call it the valley of despair during this
Oh,
moment. Between me and you, we'll make sure he gets through this because this is normal. I told you this was going to happen, and I appreciate you for bringing it up to us.
yeah.
Because I
Chris, let
try
me
to point
follow
out
up.
that, sorry, what was that?
Oh, let me follow with an overarching question for you. So you got a busy day. You have staff members, got a lot of students, got locations. Where does Chris's mind gotta be? Where's your head got? I know it's on your shoulders, but I mean, how do you work on how I'm gonna approach the day, the week, myself? I gotta manage myself. I gotta manage my family. I gotta manage my kids. So where does your head have to be for success?
Um, Wherever you are, be there. Yeah, I feel like I'm quoting another person that's on this call at the moment. I end all my classes with "in the moment at your best," which is one of the two quotes that I use for that is there is so much going on, and so if I'm
Yeah,
teaching a class thinking about tomorrow or flying out to Promac next month or when am I going to be cooking for dinner tonight, I have to be on that floor, and a lot of it has to do with really good communication with my wife. So we know
love
Wednesdays
that.
are probably my hardest day, from first thing in the morning all the way to night. So we need to make sure we know who's
I
picking
love
the
that.
girls up, so there's never that question. So it's communication with the family, it's
That's
communication with the
good.
team. But then once you're on, you have to be in the moment. Wherever you are, be there. Like, don't be on vacation. I'm guilty of this. I know we all are. Thinking about karate, enjoy your vacation. Because then when you're
Yes.
here, you shouldn't be thinking about your vacation in 2 weeks.
Yes.
I need
I
to
like
focus on
that.
where I'm at.
I'm
And
gonna
people
ask you
know
one
when
more.
your mind is not there. And so
Yes,
that's
no,
number
we
one.
got to get it. We got to send those texts home. Everything okay? Thinking about you. What's up? We got to send digital flowers home. Here's another question, Chris. Are you sitting down? Like, what is it that, and this is a broad question, but what is it that inspires Chris? What has inspired you? Like, what is it to show
I
up every day and to put it, give everything you got, till
I
you're
I
exhausted? What is it that inspires you?
I grew up in the martial arts and I got to see literally firsthand the power of somebody who grew up in martial arts, the power of somebody who mostly grew up in martial arts, and those who weren't. And even, and so, and I get the comments right now from parents is your worst students are some of the best behaved kids in their friends group still. And
Mhm.
so, like, for growing up in martial arts and getting to watch different friends at different stages drop out, and then you get to see all of us at the end of high school, and it's like, I'm making some right decisions, whether I choose to do martial arts or not. And I just happened to get the amazing opportunity to buy the academy, the school I trained at as a kid, when I ended up not leaving for college due to a freak accident, actually. So, for me, you know, I feel like I'm making an impact on the world by continuing to teach martial arts for kids. And I've also learned over the years that an adult starting martial arts can change. We were taught that adults never change, but the power of watching a parent train with their kids and create a better relationship, that's what inspires me. I
I
enjoy being
love
able to
that.
change the world in my bubble. And I don't know where those ripples are going to go, but I know I have a lot of
Mhm.
control over what I can do locally.
Yes. And if you feel like you're making progress, I mean, we take some steps forward. We got to count our little small victories. Chris, it must be very fulfilling. It must feel like self-satisfaction, like I'm making a little progress. And we get the wind knocked out of us. We got little issues that we got to handle. We have speed bumps, but the big picture is really important. Like, what are we doing with this community? How are we leaving the community better off? Like, those are some big questions. And those are the big questions that keep us motivated and inspired, through the ups and downs, which is really great. So, Mr. Kovar, in on May 15th and 16th, and on that weekend, you're having an event in Sacramento. We're sharing those duties with you. All right, tell me why I should be leaning forward and excited about that event, and what should I anticipate regarding that event?
Well, if it's one of those things where if you go, you'll be absolutely glad you did, right? And I know it's a pain in the rear to travel to an event, but it's one of those things where we've really got an action-packed weekend. A super all great all-star lineup, and so there's 2 days of business sessions, teaching sessions, martial arts sessions, just kind of any direction you want to go. And really, I think one of the things that's always been so amazing about the EFC culture and something that we've tried to continue within Kovar Systems is the networking that happens and the rising tide concept, right? It's the classic, if I give you a dollar and you give me a dollar, we both have a dollar. If I give you an idea and you give me an idea, we both have two ideas now. Is that the openness and sharing that happens, and it's just nice to be in a room with like-minded people that are aspiring to get to the next level, that share the challenges, and that are really striving to impact their community in a positive way while making a good living. So, I like, once again, I know it's going to be it's hard work to get there, but if you go, you'd be so glad you did.
Hey, I'm in a aluminum cylinder, having traveling 550 miles an hour. It's not that big a deal, So, yeah. But sometimes it's like a pilgrimage. I look at my whole life a little differently when I'm on travel. I kind of get out of my routine a little bit. I look to see what I need to course correct, what I need to do better. I read a book. All of a sudden, I'm getting myself stimulated and re-energized and reinvigorated on what my main goal is and my big pictures. So I'm very excited about that. I'm very excited. Mr. Clifford is on there. He's on mute. But how do you feel when you see Mr. Clifford, and what does he do for the martial arts behind the scenes, Mr. Dave? What would you say?
Oh, what can you say? Tom Clifford's been, we've been friends for 35 years, right? And met in San Jose in about 1990. He didn't like to talk about it, but he's, one of the smartest guys I know, and is just completely giving to the martial arts industry, and I call it Cliffordisms. When he opens his mouth, he's always got something really insightful. I think I have a whole book of Cliffordisms, right?
Yes.
And then what
And
makes Tom extra special is there's the other side of Tom too.
I don't know whether I should ask you the other side of that. And Jim, I might come over to you. So could you unmute? What's the other side? No, don't say anything.
No, no, it's all good.
He was fortunate enough we went to see Nate Bargatze, who is a comedian, a real clean,
Sure.
at the Capital One Arena. And he brought Ursula all the way down, his lovely bride, after many years. And it was just so great to see them as a partnership with each other, having fun and enjoying themselves. And he really took an effort to spend some time and go on this great date. It was hours away, and they showed a lot of affection and respect for each other. And I learned a lot from that. It was really wonderful to hear. So, Tom, I don't know how you do it, but it's really good. Jim,
Sure.
what's getting you motivated these days? And I'm coming back to you. So unless you want to reel me in right now, Jim, how you doing?
Incredible, sir. Feel great.
What's stirring in your head? What's getting you motivated? Where's your thoughts?
People and the energy of the people that I choose to surround myself with, and being on this incredible call, and thinking of being in Sacramento in a couple weeks, and just keeping positive, enthusiastic energy, like Master Kovar said, around me at all times. Left to my own devices, who knows what I might become, but I lean into those that inspire me.
Right. What are a couple limitations that you always have to overcome? What are the speed bumps mentally that you're up against sometimes in the morning, like all of us?
Sure. Am I good enough? Can I accomplish my goals? Am I worthy? And I have to use a counterfact, which I've learned in recent terms. I have to be using my mind. The counterfact is I am worthy. The counterfact is anything's possible. The counterfact is there's opportunities always around me if I just choose to be aware of them and be in the right headspace so I can see them.
That's perfect. That's perfect. That was really well said. Thank you so much. Anna, what are our instructions?
Great. Well, I would love to open it up for any questions that anyone has on any of the information that Hanshi or Master Tursak has shared, any clarifying questions. So feel free to unmute yourself or put it in the chat if you have any questions on any of the content we've covered today. And then also, while you're thinking of your questions, I put our next meetings link in the chat. We're excited to have our next call be on June 3rd, a Wednesday at 1 p.m. And we're really excited to have Ms. Alex Olinger on the call. She'll be hosting. She is a wonderful professional expert in marketing. She works closely with the Kovar organization, with EFC, and she really knows the business space of the martial arts. And marketing is her expertise. And so she'll be sharing practical, tactical strategies on marketing tips. So basically going from random acts of marketing to a system that fills your classes. And so how can you systematize your marketing efforts most efficiently? So that'll be on June 3rd, and you can register right now in the link in the chat. So we're excited to see you guys then. So wanted to open it up if there's any questions from the audience. Feel free to unmute yourself or ask in the chat.
And also
Anna,
suggestions too, like not just questions,
yes.
things that you can bring value to as well. Love to
No,
learn.
I'm sorry to insert because I want Anna to continue with asking for the questions. But Alex Orlingler, is that June 3? No, what time? When did you
Correct.
say? June
Yes.
3. Is that at
June
1 o'clock?
Yes, at 1 o'clock.
This person's talent on marketing and what she's doing, Brian Simpson, our executive officer, surrounds himself with the very, very best out there. And she has been working with us on client websites and digital marketing. She is out of this world. She is out of this world. She is in a league all by herself. So next June 3 at 1 o'clock, put it on your calendar. She is just incredible with what she can do. Okay, Anna, go back. You're asking some questions.
No, just opening it up. So feel free to unmute or put it in the chat like Hansi said, or if you have ideas, things that are working for you that you'd like to share.
While we're waiting, I just shout out to Grandmaster John Bluchek. Not a long time, man. Good to see you, man. Yeah, I hope you're well. You're looking good.
Mhm.
Looks like we have all the answers, man. Professor Randy, any suggestions, any thoughts? Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you, sir. I know for me, always during the kids' class, I'm at the front desk myself. Like you said, connecting to parents, not just knowing their names. We like to start with that 3 times rule that I think we stole from you on making sure that we make three forms of contact, 3 different ways. The name, eye contact, and verbal contact to say that name, and then we go from there to kind of interact and make sure that we actually have a discussion and find out what's going on. Most recently, and always collecting and building on that pogo that was mentioned, and that's the key, is just know your people.
Outstanding, very cool. Bella Trainer, you're great with parents. You have something to share with us?
Well, the only thing is you don't always have to talk about business with parents. Like that's like one of my favorite things doing with parents is they'll walk in and we'll not be talking about martial arts. Sometimes we'll be talking about what they did in their day. And I've had parents come up to me and go like, this is my favorite part of the day. It's kind of just chatting, which builds that rapport between you and the parent.
I love it. And one other thing just to touch on, it kind of goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway. The stronger you can get parents connected with each other, the better off as well. Because, when I have a relationship with the mom of one of the other kids in class, I'm more likely to show up because I have this great conversation going. So, Daniel Walker, you have a comment or suggestion?
Well, I like the idea of sending a little video message when the kids get their first 100 lessons done. And another little thing that I'm going to implement with that is they can earn their blue uniform when they've done at least 100 lessons. So I know the kids get a kick out of getting a free colored uniform of the basic white.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I'll tell you what, I got a few minutes. I'll hang out. I think we're going to officially wrap if that's okay. Mr. Coquinos, thank you for your wisdom.
Love
And
it.